Hey guys, it's Coeval here. Today I have a best of 3 series for you between myself and NoRet. We play 3 10 Grassy games. We actually played 11 in total, but I'm just going to show 3 of maybe not the best games, but what I think were the most instructive and kind of gave insight into how I was able to deal with this Waterlord Fury duplication book and how he was able to use that book to his advantage. So as you can see, you probably haven't seen any book like that before. He's running Fury, Waterlord, Apparition, and Duplication. Looks way crazy, that's because it is, but the essence of his strategy is going to be stall until he can get apparition out, duplicate himself, and then cast his duplicated player's Waterlord. And then you're spending the whole game as an opponent trying to chip down the Waterlord of his duplicated player, and then he can just summon his own Waterlord. And so it becomes really difficult to play against if you don't rush this book down. So without further ado, let's get started. So I open with the Mech Arrow, and he wants to go to the side immediately, doesn't quite get the jump right, and pulls out the Whisper Arrow. I want to try to close ground on him and get as close as possible. Just keep the pressure up, and again, I want to make sure that he doesn't have the opportunity to get a dupe out, otherwise I'm pretty much lost. So I try to clear some land with the Water Ball, Whisper Bomb, and I just want to detower him as soon as possible. So he pulls out the Rain of Fire. I just keep Water Ball spamming. You know, maybe I could have, detowered and pebbled, but I decided to just keep hitting them with the water balls. So finally I detower, doesn't do a lot of damage though. And he gets the apparition out. Now this is really bad for me, because I can't really damage him very much that following turn with like a Mega or anything. And now he can go in the middle of the air, and I have no way of hitting him pretty much. I can just use Aura, but that's about it. So he's able to get his duplication off, and you'll notice that he moves around his duplication, and one of the first things he does is get the dupe's Waterlord out. That way he's essentially playing with 2 players against 1, and he also uses the dupe's Ocean Fury. So keep in mind, with a duplicated player out, he's got 2 Ocean's Fury and 2 Waterlords available to him. So I'm having to deal with 185 health NoRet, 440 health Waterlord, 85 health dupe, and eventually a second Waterlord. And notice he uses Rain of Arrows twice. Why, you might be wondering? That's because he used it on his dupe, and then he used it on his main player. So anyway, I'm just having to withstand all this pressure, and it becomes very difficult, but I just try to spam my towers. I could have gone a little bit further under that piece of land there to prevent the deluge. But I didn't, so I hide in Sanctuary. He's able to get the Maelstrom off, and so I have to detower. I decide to pull out the Deluge, and the Waterlord has 83 health, so I'm thinking, oh, I'm actually making good progress. Problem is, he just pulls out a second one, and I'm like, oh Jesus, this is just so difficult to play. So he pulls out the Water Ball to, clear out the land, I'm trying to hide because I've got so much less health than he does if you count the health that he's got on the Water Lords. So he just runs to his second Lord and just Rain of Arrows me, and I'm kind of screwed in this situation. One other trick that he has is he can Whisper Arrow from the Lord, because the arrow is a Whisper Arrow. It doesn't detect any minions or land for the first few seconds, or split second. So again, I'm just trying to chip the Water Lord as much as possible, but it's looking kind of dire for me. I get the full damage Water Ball off, 60, which is kind of nice. He fails a little bit here with the Water Balls, but doesn't really matter at this point. I do get a nice sync, and he actually doesn't have gate, so I'm able to chip him for even more damage. So I get closer, pull out the Sanctuary, and he pulls out the tower. For some reason I try to go for the pebbles there. It doesn't look like it's possible at all. In hindsight, I probably should have just drained. My guess is I didn't have Deluge at this point, so, you know, otherwise it would have just been an automatic Deluge. So that might have been on cooldown. So I run away in tower again. I don't know if this Maelstrom is going to detower me. I think I'm safe, so I deluge him. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So I'm pretty much screwed here. He's got 2 aerials that he can use to finish me off. So I just teleport to a spot that's kind of safe, I guess. But he's able to get that arrows off and get the win. So pretty back and forth game, but as you can see, the fact that I allowed him to get that setup, to get his Water Lord out and his dupe out and his apparition out, you know, all of his level 3s were able to just be casted, then at that point you're climbing Mount Everest to have any chance of even winning. So he took game 1, and I'll be right back with game 2. Alright, back with game 2 here. Let's see how it goes. He is running the same book, as you can see. Pulls out the Whisper Arrow, and I decide to respond with the Frost Arrow of my own. So fairly even start. He runs away. I think he's going to want to tower here. And I decide this game to bring Flight, because I think it just is able to help me increase my mobility against a book where it pretty much needs to be rushed down, otherwise you're going to lose. So I decide to bring Flight, and I get this nice Pebble Sink. As you can see, he's not running gate, which is a huge disadvantage if you can sink him, but most of the time you're not able to, you know, get that off because he's got Glide. So I go for the Mega Boulder. It doesn't do that much, and he goes for the Deluge, and I think maybe a Mega can finish him off, give him that soft lob, and that's about it for game 2. Only took about a minute, but pretty much you can see the strategy that I used there to just rush him as quickly as possible. Didn't have a chance to get his Lord out, didn't have a chance to get his dupe out, didn't have a chance to use Apparition, use Fury, use pretty much anything. And if you can do that against this book, then you pretty much win. But if he successfully stalls, it either becomes very difficult or it's essentially a guaranteed loss. So I'm able to rush him, and I barely made it too. I only had 30 health at the end there. But that strategy that I chose served me particularly well, and I'll be back in just a minute for game 3. Alright, here's game 3 of the best of 3 series, Noret versus Coeval. Noret gets turn 1 here, glides to the side, and pulls out the Water Ball. He's got a little bit of a new strategy here where he's not going to stay up top. He's going to go to the side and just camp in the side area. Kind of make a little bit of a hidey hole because he knows I have a lot of aerials. So he tosses out a couple water balls. I hit him with the aura, and you'll notice now in this game he decides to bring Static Ball. The main purpose of that is to just spam Static Ball until his Waterlord is available. Use Maelstrom on a bottom area of the map here in order to fly there, and then summon a Waterlord. How he gets down there is because he will use Apparition and then fly down there through the land. So that's kind of his plan, just to spam the static balls. And I really don't have anything. If I had like Bloodlust or obviously Flash to knock him works really well, then that would be a great addition. But unfortunately I don't have either of those spells, so it makes it very difficult for me. So as you can see, he makes the Maelstrom. He uses the Maelstrom to get a spot for his Waterlord. I thought the shield expired the following turn, but I was wrong. It's pretty unfortunate, so my Mega is just wasted. He apparitions and I do a Rain of Arrows, which does essentially nothing. It's pretty terrible. And as I said, he's able to fly down and then summon the Lord. Although actually he doesn't summon the Lord first, he uses Duplication. And then why he does that is because then he can use the dupe's Lord, and he always has his own Lord for later. So he summons the dupe's Waterlord, and I get this Maelstrom off, and it actually moves the Waterlord to the left. And so his apparition expires and he sinks, which is kind of a nice play. And then in addition, the Lord gets damaged pretty heavily. So it's already down to 280, which is great. His dupe is at 50 health. And at this point, I'm just playing kind of a game of cat and mouse, trying to chase him around the map. And spam water balls, spam aerials. Here I had nothing, so I just said let me destroy some land. I don't know, might help me in the future, who knows. He Maelstroms, I move to tower again. His dupe expires, which is great, but keep in mind he still has another Waterlord. Notice too that he just used 2 Maelstroms in a row. It's because he used his dupe's Maelstrom and then he used his own Maelstrom. So again, if he's able to get that set up, it's just so brutal. So I decide to tower. I move again and tower. He gets the Deluge off, and at this point I don't really have much to do. I just have to summon a minion, maybe Water Ball to him, wait for Aura to come back. There's just not a lot to do here. And then he also pulls out Phantom, and I'm like, oh, that's just fantastic. Because I don't have many ways that I can kill that either. I try to kill it with the Water Ball, but it doesn't quite do enough. And now he's able to just kind of keep hitting me with the air surges. I decide to go for a Maelstrom here. It almost sinks him, but not quite. Really unfortunate. Another move I guess I could have done is moved over to the Phantom and drained myself. So like when the Phantom was over here, I move inside of it and then just Lava Drain on top of myself, and that would kill the Phantom as well. So again, I really only have Aura and Maelstrom to damage him, so I just gotta spam that when my towers are down. He just keeps hitting me with Air Surge. I use the Man Trap as a little bit of a shield. I don't really have a way to kill the Phantom, unfortunately, so I try to hide. Tower again. Again, just trying to prolong the game, because he's already able to get his setup. So now I'm just kind of in survival mode. And there he goes, summons his second Lord. And that's a little bit daunting, isn't it? I don't know if you've ever seen that. 2 Waterlords on the field at once in a 10-second game. He gets a nice Maelstrom there. I have to teleport away. And of course, he can just follow me with the Phantom. And he gets a Sink here, which was like really brutal. I didn't think that was possible, but I guess it is. Sinks me into the Deluge, and I'm pretty much, you know, done and dusted here. I go for the Frost Arrow. Unfortunately, I hit a pixel, and that's about it. That's all she wrote. So, very interesting series of games. These were just 3 of the 11 that we played. He ended up winning 6-5, winning that series. And yeah, again, just if you ever encounter this book, maybe bring Flash, Flight, and Bloodlust, and then the opponent won't be able to do much. But, you know, without those spells, you just have to do your best to rush them down before turn 5, 6, 7, and they're able to get Apparition off, get the dupe off, summon the dupe's Waterlord. At that point, you're kind of screwed. So, interesting kind of book that he chose to use, and uses it with quite a bit of success as well. Also used this in the recent tournament to good success. So anyway, guys, that was 3 of our 11 games that we played. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.